this is my favorite part. This is where it made still, this is like 30 years later, right? It's just made such a huge difference. It was like the sliding door moment. I expressed that I wasn't sure I wanted to carry on with the team, and he expressed back to me how important I was to the team, and I wasn't seeing it. I was blown away that he thought that I was important to the team. And the way he expressed that I was important to the team was helping positively with the team chemistry. That, I really cared about my teammates. I really cared about the team doing well. I wasn't, first or second off the bench, maybe third or fourth. And anyways, he helped me understand that I had a meaningful role in the team, and that just lit my fire. Like, I understood my role even better. So so that's my, I guess, story about Anson I want to share, because had he not expressed that he cared about me as a player and that he really felt that I contributed to the team, I may have invested my college time doing something else outside of the classroom, because certainly soccer, was a big time investment, right?
Oh yeah.
And so my life would be very different right now if he had kind of let me go. So thank you, Anson.
You're listening to the Vision of a Champion podcast with Anson Dorrance, 8-time Coach of the Year, 22-time National Champion, coach of the 1991 Women's World Cup team, Hall of Famer, leader, and mentor to so many in the soccer community. On this podcast, Anson brings on players and coaches to discuss what it means to be a champion, the drive, the passion, the desire, and yes, the stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Vision of a Champion podcast. I'm your host, Natalie Bode, a voice of the ACC Network's digital broadcast for the UNC women's soccer team, and I've also served as a color analyst for the NC Courage of the NWSL. We have a special episode in store for you guys today as we move on to chapter 17 of the Vision of a Champion podcast, and today we get a chance to talk about being a team player. Our special guests today are Raquel Campbell and Jenn Zaccagnini Beamer. And we'll start with Jenn. She's a 4-time national champion and a 4-time ACC champion that played defense and midfield on Anson's 1990 to 1993 teams. Jenn's proudest achievement outside of her national championships is being selected as the athletic director's scholarship recipient for 2 years running. Raquel Carvelson Campbell played for the Tar Heels from 1995 to 1998. Raquel was one of UNC's leading scorers during that time, and she was a 4-time ACC champion and has the distinction of scoring the 2,000th goal in UNC women's soccer history. She is considered UNC's top all-time reserve player that finished her career with over 100 career points and is a perfect example of what being a team player is all about. Of course, we have Anson Dorrance also on today's podcast, a 22-time national champion and World Cup champion coach. Anson Dorrance has helped so many young female soccer players unlock their potential on and off the field. With the greatest college coach of all time, it is truly a delight to talk to both Raquel and Jenn about what being a team player means in this Tar Heel program. Anson, before we dive in and get started on the chapter, tell us about both Raquel and Jenn and why you chose them to participate in this episode of the Vision of a Champion.
Well, first of all, it would be crazy not to have Raquel on because of her achievements off the bench. And it's not easy to be an elite player and come off the bench, and she was an elite player. She's one of the few reserves that signed a pro contract for us. And so when she finished her collegiate career, she goes from not getting on the field for us as a starter to signing a contract. I think it was with the Philly team. Was that it, Raquel? In the
Philadelphia
WSA.
Charge.
Yeah, the Philadelphia Charge in the WSA. So her achievements coming off the bench were extraordinary. So here's what she knew. She knew she was a great player, and yet she was on our bench. So my admiration for Raquel to have, basically this positive personality and pro-team personality where, most players that have this immense talent like she did would, think about transferring immediately or something. And she never did. I mean, she was absolutely wonderful for me. She was a part of, these great teams. And it really takes an extraordinary, noble human being to have these qualities, to come off the bench and serve the team and its mission beyond yourself. So for me, that was a no-brainer. And the thing I loved about Jenn, she came to our camps forever. I got to know her really well as a young camper. I genuinely liked her as a person. She came into UNC and she was the model student athlete for me. I mean, she was an incredibly positive human being. She took her academics seriously, and like Rakel, she was just the model reserve. Wasn't this sniveling, whining, creature, that was just insufferable because she wasn't playing. No, she was positive and hardworking. And for those reasons, I selected both of them. Obviously, one an attacking personality, the other one more of a defender. And so I thought bringing them both in, they have balance. And if you read the book, we actually have sections on Rakel because she was extraordinary as a player. And then Jenn is here because the chapter actually addresses one of her best friends, who, similar to herself, was just an incredibly positive person that didn't get on the field, but still supported the team and the mission, and then ascended to be one of our captains in her senior year. So for all these different reasons, I thought these would be two extraordinary people. And Jenn right now is helping us lead the alumni leadership group. We're reassembling the alumni to bring them back on basically Zoom meetings. And so for all these different reasons, I think I selected wisely.
Rakel, we're going to start with you and just tell us about your fondest memory about Anson and playing at the University of North Carolina.
Wow, that's a loaded question. There's so many memories. I thought about this question, and I think I want to just add one little thing in before I go into mainly answering it. Anson rarely would jump on the field with us. And when I think we were playing in a 4v4 tournament, and he jumped on the field and was playing with us, and I got to go head to head with him. It was so much fun. And I think I beat him 1v1, but he didn't let me go by easily. He's grabbing, hanging on to me. I think he even fouled me to the ground. Anson, do you remember that? I don't know if you remember that.
I don't remember that, but it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. I'm sure, based on how old I was, I'm sure you went blowing by me. So, and by the way, Haas Pinto, who's also on this call, went blowing by me as I got older and pick up noon ball. So you weren't the first that had done that, but I'm sure it's entirely possible.
No, I loved that. That just came back to me because it just showed your competitiveness and everything that you taught us, you were living. And so when I got to play you and go 1v1, it was just, I don't know, it was just a neat moment to get to play against your coach. But my fondest memory at North Carolina, I would have to say, ties into the main topic of this podcast, which is mentality. We were playing in the ACC tournament against Clemson. And the routine for me at that point was I would split the half with the forward at the time. And so she would start, and then I would come in at about 20, 25 minutes left of the game. And we were losing. Now, for, Carolina to be losing or to be behind was a rare thing. We came in and dominated teams. And so this was a new dynamic for us. And we're in the ACC championship, and it was very important to be seeded well for the national championship. And so I remember going, okay, all right, I got to be ready. Like, we're down a goal. I was starting to mentally prepare. And sure enough, my time came for me to warm up, and I'm looking down the line for Anson to give me the cue, and I didn't get it. And I thought at that moment, okay, I had to really guard my heart and guard my mentality towards what was happening, because it was like clockwork. You get into that routine of going in, and I protected myself from negative thoughts. And I said, okay, whatever I am given, whatever amount of time I'm given, I'm going to give everything. And so I kept looking, the clock was dwindling down, and the ref calls for halftime. We go in. I don't think I remember anything you said during that halftime talk, but I remember just, first of all, thinking, okay, I know I'm going to get a chance in the second half. I am going to go out there and I'm going to leave everything on the field. I'm going to try to give whatever I have to boost the team. And sure enough, the whistle starts to start the second half. And Anson looks at me, and there's about 10 minutes gone in to the second half. And he says, Raquel, warm up. And I was like, yes. And I remember running down the sideline, and I just said, God, please help me. I want to come in. I want to make an impact. Anson, you know, my faith was something that just carried me through some of the hardest times at UNC, but also moments like this where I just knew I was going to impact the team. And so I said, okay, God, we need favor. We need a win. You know, use me here. And I get in the field, I get out there, and I think it wasn't like 2 minutes in, I get the ball and I'm driving down and I beat a player and I score. And I just look up and I thought, yes, oh my gosh, this is probably one of my favorite moments in looking back over my career. And then I get the ball again, and there's about 15 minutes left of the game, and we're tied 1-1. And I'm driving down the wing again. And this time I look up and I see Rebecca McDowell sprinting after she had basically plowed the entire field. That girl never stopped running. And I look over and I'm like, okay, I can take this shot. I know I can make it, but I want to be sure. And I remember thinking, all right, I got to get the ball to Rebecca. And I faked the shot and I laid it across to her, and she finishes, and we win the game 2-1. And I remember after when the press wanted me to come into the press box and ask me, why aren't you starting? Like, what? This is crazy. You came in and impacted, and you had a game-winning, assist and a tying goal. And at that moment, I had to make a decision because, there were questions. It wasn't always easy. Like Anson said, it wasn't easy, coming in, making an impact, being coined the super sub, and not understanding why I never made it into that starting 11. But again, looking back, I know that there's some things outside of your control. And that was one of those things. And I had to make a choice with what I was given, how I was going to handle it, how I was going to bring my mentality to the team, how I was going to be helpful and self-sacrificing to do what was best for the team. And it was interesting because that was a moment when some reporter was asking me, why are you starting? What's the deal? And I just looked at him. I said, you know what? I trust my coach. He knows what's best for the team. Whatever I'm given, I'm going to give my best. And I don't know, I think I fumbled over some other words of trying to make that point. But I walked away from that thinking, wow, this moment was something I'll cherish and take with me forever, because I could have gotten negative. I could have gotten down on myself and thought, oh, well, Anson only puts me in when we're winning, which we usually were. We were always winning. But this was a game that I didn't get to go in. And I thought, okay, I'm going to battle some challenging thoughts here, but I'm going to protect what I know to be true. And that is what I do have to offer. That's all I can control. And so when I did get that chance to get on the field, I think it was just bittersweet knowing that, it just being able to help the team win to get us onto the final in the ACC championship, which we won, I think, heartily. I remember.
So you're saying that it was a brilliant decision to not play you in the first half, so you would have the energy in the second half to completely take the game over. Is that what you're hearing, Natalie and Jenn? That's what I'm hearing. Yeah, Raquel, I am with you 100%.
Anson, you definitely. I did. I trusted him. And I think also just looking back, it wasn't just about the soccer. It was about developing me as a person. And I feel like God always looks for opportunities to put us in situations where we can choose a negative path or we can choose a positive path. And so sometimes it requires protecting yourself and guarding yourself from that temptation to get negative or to get down on yourself. And so I think mental toughness is critical for any player to work on and to develop. And I
have to share this because Raquel's probably aware of this, but probably hasn't remembered this. She's a part of our core values. because on a particular day, she was obviously really irritated with me for some reason. And she left a note on my desk. And I love the note so much. It is in our core values. And I don't know what I had done, that week to set her off. But I come into my office one day, and this was the stretch, Raquel, when we were, I think, in the trailer down at Finley. So
I remember
we're in a
exactly.
trailer because they're rebuilding our building. And there's this note on my desk, and it says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And this is just a wonderful quote that she had found. And I absolutely loved it. And I was thinking, you know what? I guess I'm not paying enough attention to Raquel. So I had to rework, whatever was going on. But it just made so much sense to me. And so now it's actually one of the core values in our program. So I just want Raquel to know that her legacy still stays with me with that note. And her name is in the core values as the one that left the note. So I really appreciate her, I guess, educating and coaching me as well.
Well, just to be able to play for you and play under that legacy was such a privilege and an honor. And to even be recruited in the first place was surreal for me. And again, just what you developed in me as a player. I used to hate 1v1s. We would do 1v1s to cones. Jen, do you remember those 1v1s to cones?
Yeah.
Misery. That brought out the worst in all of us. I remember, I'm not going to mention her name, but I was going to goal. Siri was behind me, and Siri Molinix was like, come on, Raquel, we got this. And I believe Tracy Noonan was in the other goal. And the player that I was going up against was probably one of the most competitive. And I beat her, and it was like, oh my gosh, is that okay? I was so nervous. Well, she got so angry at like the last couple minutes of the 1v1. She tackles me to the ground, and I could just tell she wanted to attack me. And I thought, 1v1s were torture. But I look back on that, and I'm so grateful for you forcing us to be aggressive and to attack players with the ball, basically to go after whoever was in our way, because I learned to love 1v1s, and they are now my favorite thing. I play with my son and my kids in the backyard, and I'm like, give me the ball. I'm going to take you on 1v1.
Raquel, you're good at it. You're good. You can beat people off the dribble. It's one of your best qualities. So I just think that's wonderful that you've adapted to it, because holy cow, were you good at beating people off the dribble?
Well, I think you just pulled out of me something that I, secretly was just 1v1s. But Jen, I'm sure, like, answering this question about all the memorable moments that we have had at UNC, it's hard to answer that in one question. And so I'm sure you had a ton of memorable moments.
Jen, I want to, sorry, not to interrupt you, Raquel. I want to pose that same question to you. What is I know it's hard to answer because it's a loaded question. What is your fondest memory about Anson, about the experience at UNC Chapel Hill, Jen?
So if I had to come up with a fondest, I think it was the biggest turning point for me. So I was a walk-on. I was kind of a walk-on hybrid because, as Anson mentioned, I had been a camper, and I had expressed to Anson that I was very interested in playing for the team. If he allowed walk-ons, I thought I had a good chance of getting accepted Carolina as a student. And he wrote me this wonderful note that said, and he said it in person as well, by all means, let us know if you get in. We'd love to have you on the team. So I actually came down for recruiting weekend, and I was terrified. Oh my gosh. Raquel, were you terrified of Anson when you were getting to know him? And then
let's just say you're it's hard to describe how surreal it is. You're like, I can't believe I'm here surrounded by all these incredible athletes.
Exactly. And I know that in a very loving way, Anson. I know you know that. Like, he's just, the best women's soccer coach. And here I am on a recruiting weekend with Angela Kelly and Mia Hamm and Christine Lilly are hosting. And I was just blown away. But to answer your question, so my freshman year, I show up, and I have played in midfield and forward my whole career prior to arriving Carolina, and Anson converts me to defense. And anywhere I can help the team and possibly get on the field, yes, I'll play defense. Well, guess what that means? I get to defend Mia Hamm. Yep. Scrimmages every day at practice. And Rita Tower, who's no easier to defend than Mia. And anyways, so I grind out my freshman year. I learned so much, and I have to say it was very, very hard. of course. And I just wasn't sure, like, if the team wanted me, if the team needed me. And I did get to play some. I got what Anson called quality playing time. I got to travel with the team to away games. It was definitely a meaningful first year, but I just wasn't sure. And so I had that end of season meeting with Anson, he has with all of us. And this is my favorite part. This is where it made still, this is like 30 years later, right? It's just made such a huge difference. It was like the sliding door moment. I expressed that I wasn't sure I wanted to carry on with the team. And he expressed back to me how important I was to the team. And I wasn't seeing it. I was blown away that he thought that I was important to the team. And the way he expressed that I was important to the team was helping positively with the team chemistry. That, I really cared about my teammates. I really cared about the team doing well. I wasn't, first or second off the bench, maybe third or fourth. And anyways, he helped me understand that I had a meaningful role in the team. And that just lit my fire. Like, I understood my role even better. So so that's my, I guess, story about Anson I want to share, because had he not expressed that he cared about me as a player and that he really felt that I contributed to the team, I may have invested my college time doing something else outside of the classroom, because certainly soccer, was a big time investment, right?
Oh yeah.
And so my life would be very different right now if he had kind of let me go. So thank you, Anson, because it was pretty amazing to be a part of this program. And still, like he was saying about the alumni, like we have so many incredible connections and community that I would have missed out on. So thank you.
Let's go ahead and get the conversation rolling about Chapter 17 specifically. And Anson, I'll start with you. Can you give our listeners a brief understanding of what the true definition of being a team player is and what it means to you?
Well, this is why I've got Raquel and Jenn on this call, because they exemplified it for me. And we're talking about two different experiences, because Raquel had the talent to start. So her nobility in accepting a lesser role is why I wanted to bring her on. But also I wanted to honor her because in terms of points per minutes played, she is number one in our history. And we've had some phenomenal players. And yet in terms of minutes played, Raquel has scored more goals and had more assists than anyone in our history. And, Jenn's talking about the kids she had to play against in practice. And she's right. Oh, my gosh. I mean, we're playing starters, reserves. And then I'm looking at, and this is back in the day when the front line was Christine Lilly on the left, Rita Tower in the middle, and Mia Hamm on the right. I mean, that is one wicked front line. So Jenn's absolutely right. I mean, all right, let's play a little of 11v11. And the reserves are all going, oh, no, not again. And Jenn's right about, Rita Tower. I mean, everyone knows Mia Hamm and Christine Lilly, two of the greatest of all time. And I'm not just talking about collegiately. I'm talking about, internationally, two of the greatest of all time. But Rita Tower was a handful. This is a woman that took bodybuilding very seriously. So when you ran into her, it's like hitting a pillar of bricks. I mean, so you didn't like playing any of the three of them because obviously Mia Hamm and Christine could go through you like a knife through butter. But the problem with Rita is when you collided with her, because you're thinking, oh my gosh, have I just broken something? And then Rita had sort of a mean streak, so when you took a ball from her, you were in deep trouble because she was going to cut you in half. So that whole front line and all the reserves that had to play against it, I mean, it was just sacrificial lambs. So I've got these two for reasons. But the other reason I've got these two is they contributed very positively to team chemistry. That note from Raquel to me was significant because I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is a good note. This is I've got to be better moment for me. Which is why I included it. And the other thing about Raquel is she was very spiritual. And I respect people that are spiritual, but I also know the language. So I love teasing Raquel with spiritual words. Like we used to talk about, agape. Agape is Christian love. And I used to say,
Yes.
Raquel, I reject agape. I don't want to have agape from you. I don't want you to love me because you're a Christian. So I would, because I'm trained, I went to Catholic schools my whole life. I understand all the vocabulary of spiritual people. So I enjoyed using that vocabulary to tease Raquel to death. And then Jenn was so sweet. I really wanted to keep her. I wanted to keep her because she made everyone around them so much better as people, the way she treated everyone. And that's what I wanted. I wanted a team of people that connected with each other and connected deeply. So for me, these two were clear choices for me for all the right reasons because of who they were. So that's why they're with us right now. Now, then, of course, they agreed to jump in. So there we have it.
And we're going to go again with the same question for you both. Raquel, I'll give it to you first. Jenn, you can answer immediately following after. But Raquel, can you share with our listeners some of those things you did that made you a great team player? And you mentioned your mentality in those moments. What's kind of the backstory behind that and the principles you held?
Listen, it's hard to describe what Jenn is talking about, the distinction between reserves and starters. And for me, it didn't take long to realize that the goal was to become a starter. With that came clout, came recognition, came instant credibility. You were just the best of the best. Now, Anson, you mentioned that, I accepted my role as the reserve. Well, to be honest, I never truly did. And that's what kept driving me to go after trying to become a starter. And a lot of times we had walk-ons that would come, and with it came incredible character and integrity, which I think was a great balance to the team. Because when you have the ruthless, competitive, almost self-driven mentality of the athlete, and you've got these women that come in that are walk-ons that have deep roots in integrity and character, the balance that created for our team was astounding. And for me, being a Christian, seeing those qualities in those characters like you, Jenn, like Mandy Morrison and Erica Dempsey, those girls, Julia Marslander, Liz's sister, seeing what they brought to the team was just as valuable. And I think that's part of what my note was all about was, listen, we need to know you care too. And Anson, I'm just honored to hear you describe your perspective of me being in your eyes that talented, because it's wonderful to hear. And a lot of times I think, Jenn, what you were saying, needing to hear that reinforcement, needing to hear your value, needing to hear how much you're cared for was the main message behind my note. And I want to share, I know exactly why I sent you that note in a passive aggressive way. I dropped it off on your desk and I was out of there before you could see who dropped it. But I'm pretty sure you figured out who was responsible. But I'm not sure if you remember this, Anson, but again, back to the 4v4 tournaments that you would host for us, which was fun. It was just a fun breakup from our routine. You normally would split players. You would take, one of the best forwards with one of the best midfielders, a defender, and then you'd throw in a reserve with them, and then maybe a walk-on. And then we would all be paired up. Well, this particular training session, you decided to change it up, and you said all the forwards get together, and you put all the forwards together. I think I was standing somewhere to the left, and you kind of just pieced the best forwards with the two, players that came off the bench, and then you that was one team. And then the midfielders, you did the same thing, and you did the same thing with the defenders. And then I looked around, and it was me, Erica Dempsey, Mandy Morrison, I think Tina Murphy, who had redshirted and who was, coming off of injury, recovering. I don't remember who else was with us. I don't know if Liz was there yet, but I just looked around and all of us looked at each other like we're all on one team. Do you remember this? Do you remember this training session?
I know what you're talking about because I would always see which of my groups was the strongest. So yeah, every now and again, I'll put the starting defenders together, the starting midfielders, starting strikers. And then of course, because you've taken all the starters out, then the other teams obviously are not going to have the star power of those three teams. So you are describing, something I do regularly. So you're absolutely correct.
So you looked at me, Anson, and you said, okay, Raquel, do you want to be a goal up or do you want your goals to count for 2? And I just looked at you and I was like, we don't need either. We're going to be just fine. And I gathered these girls to me, and Erica and Mandy were both in a Bible study that I was doing. And so I kind of had a little more leeway to say what I said next. I looked at them and I said, you are going to play better than you've ever played in your life. Do you hear me? Like, I knew what we were up against. And I was like, I was willing at that point to sacrifice myself defensively, mind you, which I think this was a brilliant thing you did looking back. And I said, we are not going to lose. Do you understand? And they just looked at me with these big eyes. And I remember watching my fellow walk-ons in the reserve. I think it was Tina Murphy with me. I watched them play better soccer than I think they'll ever play again in their life. Because when we played against Cindy Partlow, Meredith Florence, I think it was Raven McDonald. I mean, these were powerhouse, world-renowned players. We beat them. I don't know how. I think there was some prayer involved, but we ended up beating the forwards. And I was so angry. I think I played offense, midfield, and defense. I think it's probably the only time you'll see me play the best defense of my life. Well, then we had to play the midfielders, and I think it was a tie. I think it was like we had to go into overtime, or you tossed a coin, and we ended up winning. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. I just felt more fuel, more energy. And of course, we had to end with playing the defense, and that was Nell Fettig and Stacey Wilson. And gosh, it was, you can't beat a defense, no matter how talented you are as an offense. Defense, they're solid. They're a foundation that is hard to break through. Well, we were tied, and I think I was driving down the wing. I felt like I got fouled. It's questionable. I don't know, but I was taken down. They repossessed the ball, drove down the field, and scored. And I was so mad because, again, I had made a decision that we were going to be validated. We were going to be seen. We were going to be contenders in this unfair fight, David versus Goliath in my mind. But I thought, okay, we can do this. Nothing is impossible.
And then you wrote the note. So that was it. So that
it's almost done. I remember being called into the huddle. I was like on the verge of tears. I was so hurt because I felt like I should have gotten a free kick. And sure enough, the girls started walking back towards the hut, and I just walked in the other direction. And I think all of it just came up, and I started crying. And Stacey Wilson came over and put her arm around my shoulder, and she was like, Raquel, keep fighting. You got this. And that little ounce of Stacey reaching out, which everyone knows, Stacey was like Rita Tower. She was one big muscle and very tough. And for her to come and to offer that encouragement was like water in a thirsty land. And so it fueled me, and I went home and I prayed and had a really good quiet time and got refocused. And I just said, okay, I trust you, whatever's happening. I trust you to work whatever you need to work out in me, mental toughness, perseverance. And that next day I showed up with that note. And I think for me, the turning point was, you know what? I have to believe that I'm good enough, whether I ever make it into the starting 11. I have to make that decision that I'm good enough. And it was at that point that I thought, okay, if the girls that I was with, if we managed to beat the best forwards in the world, in my opinion, at that time, the best midfielders, it was like, okay, we can do this. There's nothing you can't accomplish when you put your mind to it and you have the right mindset. So I think at that point I said, yeah, I will give myself fully to this team and give whatever I'm given in terms of time on the field. And I didn't question it after that. I said, okay, God's got.
Isn't that interesting, Raquel? The defenders always win, right, Jen? Those
defenders. Nell was like, it wasn't a foul.
You put the defenders on a team of 4v4 and they win.
They always win.
Exactly.
Always.
You would think the midfielders might, or occasionally the forwards, but yeah, Jen, it's always Anson, the defenders.
you did something for me that day that I didn't realize. You helped me to tap into the one area that you wanted me to improve on, which was my defensive game. And I think I played more defense. I think I even slide tackled, which says a lot for me. So.
Hey everyone, we're going to take a quick break here to tell you about our sponsor, Soccer.com. Anson has been coaching for 44 years, and it seems like Soccer.com has been around nearly that long as well. It's pretty close, as the Soccer.com business has been family-run and based in Hillsborough, North Carolina since 1984. If you're a player or a coach who needs soccer shoes, equipment, gear, whatever it may be, do what the pros do. Head on over to Soccer.com. This is Dean Linke. I hope you've been enjoying the podcast, and I wanted to make you aware that Anson just released a new audiobook version of his hardcover book, The Vision of a Champion. Now you can listen to the book narrated by Anson Dorrance and switch back to the free podcast to hear the stars of the women's game discuss each chapter. The Vision of a Champion audiobook is available on Apple Books, Amazon's Audible, Google Play, or wherever you get your audiobooks. To find it, simply search The Vision of a Champion audiobook. Now, let's get back to the show.
Jenn, I want to ask you that same question. I mean, 4-time national champion, obviously you were part of some great teams. How did you be a great team player for all of those elite teams?
Oh my gosh, this is such a wonderful reminisce. You guys, I was so lucky, and I'm so grateful that that I was on the team. When I showed up in 1990, and Anson's talked about the roster that he had at the time, in my 4-year career, which I will say had nothing to do with me, we had lost only one game. We won. We didn't even tie another game after we lost to UConn in 1990. It was such an unbelievable experience. But Raquel, I so enjoy your reminisce on those moments on the field. Like my most vivid memories are off the field. So it's so cool. The difference is, obviously you had a lot more time on the field than I did, but like I said, after that freshman year, when I'm like fully committed to being a part and a meaningful part of this team, I thought about, what can I control? Because I'm never going to be as good as, our starting defense at that time. Who did we have? Llewellyn Poor in the back. Stacy Blazo, we had just Linda Hamilton. I mean, just amazing national team players. So what I could control was my fitness. So I tried. I said, I'm going to try to be able to keep up with Mia. I tried to come in super fit every season, and then obviously to have good grades, because Anson always, of course, talked with us about how important it is for us to be good student athletes. And the other thing, having a positive attitude. But one of the unique things that I did, so I think it was really wonderful how we were all just encouraged to be ourselves. And boy, Anson, did we have some characters on the team when I was there. I think I was voted most normal. Do you remember my era? Yep. I know you've had so many. Yeah. No,
you were one of the few normal ones during that stretch. You're absolutely right. So, boy, was it a pleasure having you, a normal human being, on that roster of just unbelievable athletic freaks, and then these just, way out their personalities. So, Jenn, you're absolutely right.
And they wonderful. They brought, more out of me. Like I loved, meeting all these new personalities like you guys have talked about. I grew up in 12 years of Catholic school. And so it was, uniforms and pretty straight laced. So I was like, whoa, this is a whole new world. But one of the things, getting back to that, I brought that was unique to me and a passion that I had off the field was photography. And so all my teammates will probably giggle if they hear this, because I always had my camera with me. So I was always taking pictures off the field, selfies, and before they were cool. And, and then at the end of the season, when we had our end of the season team party, this is exposing how long ago it was. I did a slideshow. Do you guys remember what slides are? So the images, right, that I had taken throughout the season, I had developed them into slides and organized them to be a photo collage to music that I would share during our end of the season party as sort of a recap of the season to meaningful music, depending on, you know, where it was in the photos that I was sharing. So that was, and these are like archives I have now. So periodically I'll pull one out of the archive and shoot it over to somebody that, you know, a photo of them that off the field that they've never seen. And it's kind of fun to reminisce on, you know, just different memories we were making, you know, on Franklin Street together, on the bus, at restaurants, just, you know, the enjoying, you know, our community off the field was really so enriching, and it still is, because Anson's done such a great job of always welcoming us back, right? Raquel, every time you see him, he's always like, come on back, you know, having the reunions every couple of years. And now the elevated engagement with the alumni is, Heather O'Reilly's doing such a great job of, you know, really rallying the troops to be even more engaged. So anyways, long answer to the question, but
that's great though. If it's okay, I would love to just talk about the value of that. Like, and that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier with just what you guys would bring to the team. I just remember that Liz, you know, she was like a mother goose for all of us. You know, she just had that mothering nature. And I remember just going and talking to her, and she would just listen. And being a part of a team, you have to, like Anson says, you understand your role. And I think that it's invaluable what some of the walk-ons and the reserves were able to contribute. Because a lot of times, you know, when you're faced with not seeing that constant reinforcement or that affirmation that you need, it's not an easy environment. I mean, who are we kidding? I mean, you're going up against some of the most competitive, you know, alphas that are out there when it comes to soccer. And that environment is challenging, and it's not always easy. And you see a lot of the emotions and the personalities that clash, but you're right. A lot of the off the field relationships, like I remember just being there for one another, because we all went through all kinds of things, you know, boyfriend issues and, you know, just, you know, oh, I didn't get this trophy, or, you know, like whatever the situation was, we were there for each other. And at the end of the day, I think that having cultivated that was hugely a result of the reserves and a lot of walk-ons that came, that just knew how to bring people together and ground some of the uber ultra competitiveness in most of us. So
let me share my Liz Marslander story, because it's my absolute favorite. I call it the most celebrated goal in UNC women's soccer history, because she was so loved. And here's what it was. I think it was an NCAA game. I think it was rather deep in the NCAA tournament, but we were up a bit. So of course, when we get up a bit, you know, I'm trying to clear the bench so that everyone gets into the game. So Liz, who I think by this time was our captain, and I don't know if Jenn, you were still there. Please tell me whether or not you were, because this is so vivid in my memory. But near the end of the game, Marslander scores a goal. And it was so close to the end of the game that everyone was so overjoyed. When the game ended, the whole team went sprinting out there to celebrate with Liz Marslander. And Vanessa Rubio had injured herself. I think she had a torn ACL from earlier in the year. And all of a sudden, she, along with everyone else, is trying to get out there to celebrate with Liz. But of course, Rubio is on crutches. So she gets to the pylon late. So there's this just pile of bodies on top of Marslander, you know, celebrating her. Everyone absolutely loved her. And so Rubio, who of course is the last one out there because she's on these crutches, hobbling out there in these crutches. And then she gets to the pile and she throws her crutches to the left and right and starts to dive on the pile. And what happened is all of you guys saw her coming and you didn't want her landing on you. So the pile separated.
Cleared.
And so Rubio hits the ground and re-injures the knee he had torn her ACL with. And so it was one of these tragicomic moments when, you know, she's in pain because she's just, you know, re-injured by diving, but you know, we're all laughing because it was so hilarious. But that gets to the nature of what you guys are talking about, the nature of, she was loved. Liz Marslander was absolutely loved. because of the sort of human being that she was. And the other thing that I absolutely love, and obviously it's so important for us right now as well, we honor the people that are these paragons of nobility and virtue and character, so much so that, as you guys know now, I mean, everything for us is about character. It's about that sort of development, because long term, you're not going to play your professional career forever, and you're not going to play like Raquel. How many years were you on the national team for Iceland? You played for them for a while, but it's not going to be forever. You're going to have a life after that. So what's most important is who you are. And so for me, that's also a part of this chapter was people like Liz.
And Anson, I want to ask you about player persona, which is mentioned so much in this chapter, and what that really means, and kind of the breakdown of the different personas that you need to make up a great team.
Well, thank you. Well, obviously, and I really appreciate how well Raquel and Jenn touched on this. You need a whole blend of all kinds of personalities. Yeah, you need those wild cowboy alphas that, want to rip your throat out in the middle of a 1v1, which Raquel was referring to. And I love the fact that Raquel won't mention the name of the girl that wanted to tear her
because I love her
in half. Yeah, she's protecting her. But yeah, this is the sort of girl that would not only beat you, 10-0 in the 1v1, but then she would pour kerosene on top of you and then light you up so you're not burning to death, right after she's completely humiliated you in the 1v1.
Oh my God, I'm totally hitting you up on the chat to find out who that was.
Well, yeah, no, absolutely. But, I think I know who it is, but I'm like Raquel. I'm not going to expose anyone. But, I love all this because those are the people that are part of helping you win, clearly, these competitive women. And the other thing is in our environment, as you guys know, we protected them. Because in a lot of environments, if you're that way, you're excoriated. And you know what? No. Why are men put on these pedestals when they're competitive? And why are women excoriated for being the same thing? So we wanted to create a culture where that sort of woman is elevated and protected and respected. But obviously you can't have, 30 of those people because all of a sudden, the bus is going to burn down on the way to a game. So what you need a blend of all these different kinds of people. And so this is where, this chapter for me was such an important part of the book. Because we wanted a whole range of personalities. And Jenn is right. Holy cow. Your teams back in those days, when I got a call at 4 a.m., I was thinking, oh, no, it could be any of, 15 people, Yes, officer, I'm sorry, they burned that fraternity house to the ground. Yeah, I tell them that, matches, that's just not, they shouldn't play with fire. And, I'm sorry, sir, but, I'll bail her out of, the jail cell right now. But these are also the women that take huge physical risks. These are the women that are incredibly brave. These are the women that 50-50 ball in the box and the goalkeeper's about to punch them in the head. They stick their head in there and finish it. They are brave, aggressive women. And I loved having them on my roster. And then do I love the normal ones like Jenn Zaccagnini? Yes. Because holy cow, was it a pleasure dealing with someone that, had everything in order. I mean, I never went to her room when she was an undergraduate, but here's what I imagine. If you went to her desk, all of her pencils would be lined up. She would have all of her books in a row, with, bookmarks about where she was in each chapter. I mean, and then of course the bed would probably be made. I mean, and all these different things. And so, yeah, we needed a whole range of these people because that's what community is. Community is accepting everyone for whatever they care to bring. And I love every year of my life with these different teams. And I've got one right now. We've got all kinds of kids on our current roster. And do we have some normal ones? Yeah, Jenn, we do. Do we have some that, would light you on fire, Raquel, after they beat you to death in a 1v1? Yes, we have those as well. And I love having all of them on my teams.
Anson, before we wrap, I want to ask you, you mentioned that delicate balance between praise and criticism and how it kind of ties into female players and what to do in public versus private. So what advice would you give to other coaches discerning when to praise and when to criticize and where to do it?
Well, obviously, they have to feel protected and safe within your environment. So obviously, trust is the most critical leadership quality. It's a critical quality in coaching. Your players have to trust your judgment. So they have to trust that, there's no ulterior motive for why someone's playing in front of you or more minutes than you are playing. And so that trust has to be won. The way you win that trust is the way you treat the people outside of the competitive environment. They have to know that you respect them. And oftentimes they would rather be respected and admired for reasons beyond the game, because clearly the girls that are scoring goal after goal after goal for you are going to be respected. But believe it or not, they don't need a word from you. They know in their world, with the media behind them and basically the glory behind them, they're fine. The ones that need more of a connection and an affirmation are the ones that don't play maximum minutes, that are serving the team and its mission. And so those are the ones that need to know that, yeah, like what Jenn was saying, when you pull them aside after the season and, yeah, they're wondering whether or not they have any value for you because they're not playing maximum minutes. They got to know that they have value well beyond the playing time minutes of the other young women on the roster. And so that's when you tell them, what they mean to you. And now you're telling them, things basically beyond the game. And I can't remember if back then, Jenn, I actually told you in that first meeting, by the way, Jenn, you're the only normal one on my roster. Would you please stick around? Because maybe what I gathered, by the time she graduated is she was, clearly, just absolutely normal in a positive way. Now, does this mean I am disparaging any of those other wild hairs on the roster? No. As Raquel was saying, oh my gosh, in these critical matches, you need the alphas. You need the ones that, will take any sort of physical risk to win a game. But you still want a real community. And that is made up of all kinds of people that are totally different. And you love them all for different reasons. And I'll tell you, as a result of, I'm still coaching. I'm approaching 70. And I'm still coaching. And why? Because I love all these different kinds of players. And it takes all these different personalities to make my life interesting, at least. First of all, Raquel and Jenn, I love having you guys back on the show. You're bringing back such extraordinary memories for me about all the different personalities and all the great teams we've had. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great to reminisce and just get to share and revel in some of those wonderful memories.
Ditto. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to have been chosen to be a part of this. Thank you so much.
That wraps up episode 17 with Raquel Carvelson Campbell and Jenn Zaccagnini Beamer, both national champions for the Tar Heels. If you like this show, one way you can support our work is to subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen and leave us a rating and review as well. This show was edited and produced by Creative Allies. If you're looking for information on full-service podcast production, head on over to creativeallies.com. I'm Natalie Bode, and we'll see you next time on the Vision of a Champion podcast.
Hey, everyone. I hope you liked this episode. And I just want to thank all of the people involved in making this happen and all of our sponsors, including AttaFootball.com. In addition to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the usual podcast apps, you can listen to the show on AttaFootball.com, which is a new women's soccer community that is helping elevate the sport through sharing some of the top women's matches, highlights, and athletes from around the world. Atta is enabling women's football to shine its brightest, now and for generations of young female footballers to come. So visit AttaFootball.com to learn more.
Hey fans, you can follow the Vision of a Champion podcast chapter by chapter by purchasing the hard paperback online. Simply go to AnsonDorranceSoccer.com. If you are ordering the book, use promo code VISIONCHAMP. That's VISIONCHAMP to get a 15% discount. And thank you for listening to the Vision of a Champion podcast.